Hey everyone, and welcome back to a show that I started about like 2 years ago, and then I tried to do it again last season, but then I messed up the audio on a 45-minute recording and felt so bad that I never want to do it again. But now we're back, but this time we have RLCS sub and Philadelphia Eagles running back, Boston Scott. You might have heard of him. He's kind of a big cheese. We love him around here. We also have professional shit poster, social media something or other, and the man himself who runs the Dignitas Rocket League Twitter, Fisher.
The infamous.
Damn. Maybe famous and infamous.
Damn.
And then we got
intro.
Yeah. And then we got some guy who's been with Dig for like 2 years, does content every now and then, does some yapping, and goes by ItBeCaleb online. Yeah. That's about it. But we're here today to talk about some Rocket League, talk about some Dignitas Rocket League, talk about things up so far. We're gonna talk about the start. We're gonna get caught up, and we're gonna discuss the ups. And unfortunately, some of the downs. There's been some downs, which might be pretty obvious to some people. So, all right. Starting out, we have a team that was formed not too long before the season even started. And we won a couple of off-season tournaments back to back. I think that was actually a shock to some people. Some people were actually really surprised that we were winning stuff. And now we're making our way into the North American RLCS season. And before we get into any of the results of said season, I want to know you guys' thoughts and takes on the roster as we have gone into this first split. Like, what were your thoughts as it formed, the different angles of it, and all that?
I think it's I can go first, Fish.
No, yeah, you can go for it though.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to.
No, you can go for it. Trust me.
You should. If you,
I'm gonna get my yap in. I'm not gonna stop. So you can get yours through right now.
For sure. Let me go first and get it out of the way because I know we're gonna be here for like 15. Anyway, nah, man. It's actually really cool that this roster was put together. I believe that from a synergy standpoint, I think that they mesh well together. I think that their play styles are similar, you know what I mean? Obviously they're all pretty mechanical, but I think the big part of it, and Evo's coming along as far as experience is concerned, but I think Arsenal and Gyro, what they've been able to go through being a part of different teams, I feel like they've had to adapt to different types of play styles. And so that's one of the things that I feel like sticks out to me the most. I feel like their adaptability and their they can change based on what teams are giving them. But I didn't even know actually that Gyro and Arsenal had played together at one point. And now, whenever the roster announcement video got put out by, I'm assuming your boy.
Maybe.
Humble look left, right. Nah, once that came out, I didn't really understand the whole peeps thing. I forgot they were called peeps anyway, but it made a lot of sense whenever I found that out. And I was just in my mind, I'm just these are two guys. Gyro was actually the first guy that I came into contact with as far as the RLCS scene. Super cool guy, down to earth, very motivated. And we actually made a video together. Don't go look at the video. That was an amateur. But you know what?
It was the before times.
It probably looks the same. And by the way, if you see over here, there's a baby. I don't have kids. All right. Anyways,
it's for the dog, clearly.
It's for the dog. Yeah, I put my dog in here sometime. You know what? I'm gonna stop because some people going, Anyway.
Picked up a little dog. Just picked up a foster baby.
Oh, for real?
Yeah,
hey,
a little tiny black lab.
Shelter dogs are the way to go. Come on, man.
My cat's still wary.
Yeah.
He's like, what is that thing? What did you bring into my house?
Why you disrupted all the flow that we had here?
Mm-hmm.
My peace and comfort, and it's in the living room. What are you doing, man?
Yeah.
But anyway, no, but with this roster, I have a big connection to. I really love this roster, most specifically because we had such a turbulent offseason. We were just deciding who we were going to pick up, wanted to pick up the rookie Aris to team up with another rookie, Evo, who just had his first season. And it was very, very difficult to see consistency or any result.
Evo played the season before that. He played a whole single qualifier. And then was kicked by
he got about as far as me. Okay? Can't count if you get as far as me. Anyway, but no, Arsenal and Gyro, obviously they have huge history together. I think Gyro, Reddles, and Miss were together, and then Miss went off and formed Birds and the Bees, and Arsenal went in there. But I don't really remember the exact specifics, but I've known Arsenal and Gyro before they even made RLRS, the second league to RLCS, and that was ages ago when that was still running. And there are two people that I had like high respect for because as a bubble player for way too long, I probably should have done something with that. As a bubble player for way too long, I knew all these players before they made RLCS, and when they made it, they didn't unadd me. They were actually cool. They were good, respectful,
He was in.
People and stuff, and I'd still play with them sometimes. And I think like that like maturity and like dedication is hard to come by because usually like the ego gets to these young guys. And Evo at his first season, he fell on top of the world after his top 4, and then it just like it spluttered down from there. It was like confidence, constant like thinking about how he has to perform. And I think coming into this new season, I'm really happy that we have an Arsenal and Gyro connection that was forming in the past. We have that experience with Evo. Because we didn't have that before. We had a team that was trying to, propel themselves up, but they're all inexperienced with being at that level. So I'm very happy with how this roster turned out. Very happy.
That's a great point you made because, like, even in the NFL, like one of the main things whenever you go into an off season that you want to address, regardless of the position group, is you want to make sure that you have like a veteran presence. Because obviously, like they've been through it. They've had to, go through different teams, whatever it is. But having that experience, definitely can set the foundation for the culture of the team. And I feel like Arsenal and Gyro.
Absolutely.
I mean, I don't know a lot of the guys, and excuse me if my dog is whimpering. But like I feel like that's crucial to the success of a team. And I've gotten to know a lot of the pros around there, but I feel like personality-wise, experience-wise, those two guys are the best of the best, in my opinion.
No, they really are the best. The best to work with, the best to, see succeed. And I think, like, there's very, very little exceptions when, like, 3 young players just come out and they last, like Team Liquid. That's, like, the only exception I can think of. And knowing the behind the scenes of Team Liquid, very volatile team to be in because they're just constantly fighting. It's just constant immaturity at that level. But like seeing Arsenal and Evo here. Arsenal and Gyro here to like equalize out with Evo. I really hope that we going into this third qualifier as number 4 in points. Like I really hope the performance picks up from the last one because I could tell that it was just I don't know, it wasn't like confident, it didn't make any sense that last qualifier. I'm gonna be honest,
it was messy.
It didn't make any sense.
It was messy.
So from a coach's perspective, right? Because I know your track record. I know your track record, dog.
I got a little blue title or whatever.
The flex.
So from a coach's perspective, do you feel like what I kind of talked about, that synergy, like the overall chemistry of the team, you feel like that's important?
I feel like that's vital to the team. That's vital to the team because at the end of the day, a lot of these players, especially in North America, are trying to figure out how they can do more with the ball. And that veteran mentality that Arsenal has, he never is thinking that. He's never thinking about how he's going to hog the ball and do something. And I know for a fact, because I've seen him play on all these different teams, that his role is just underappreciated. And I think that no one ever thinks about that veteran experience he has and that ability to adapt into a team with a young gun, Evo. And then he's got someone else now with him, Gyro, that he's played in the past before. I think it's an incredible recipe for success. And I think they really just like derailed that last qual. I don't like.
We'll get into the results of that. We'll get into
it. I'm gonna be real with you though, because like, and also like I be trying to I've had, even before Arsenal became a part of the team, like, your boy would see obviously like the top 25s for, RLCS and all that kind of stuff. And I just felt like, in my genuine opinion, I felt like Arsenal was always super low, and that's
Underappreciated.
yeah, exactly. And I feel like they base it off of like mechanics. You know what I mean? Like they base it off of obviously productivity, but just like soccer, right? You have these players, these pieces that enable these things to happen. You know what I mean? So like I just feel like from an opportunistic standpoint, like I feel that he should be higher up because I believe that there's a such thing. Obviously, he can take over a game if needed to be, but I feel like creating opportunities can be just as valuable as being the finisher. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. I don't know if you're
Yeah.
familiar with like Mesut Ozil in soccer, but he only got appreciated after the fact because he had number one assist of all time, and then people were just like, "What the hell? He just
Right.
the best assister." And I think especially with all these lists and all these people people on these lists that they talk about with flashy stuff and plays and whoever's the loudest and whoever they feed the ball to gets the most attention. And this off season when they were showing a bunch of the stats and you just constantly see Arsenal at the top with Evo at the top, and it's like, oh wow, Evo's at the top. Guys, Arsenal is there enabling that, and he's at the top. So
Right.
Arsenal's not only enabling his team to succeed, but he's also putting up these ratings. That means he's making an impact on the ball and off the ball, which is like it's really, really impressive.
Right.
Like as a coach, it's really
For sure.
impressive. And coaches always talk about that type of thing.
I hear you, Coach Fish. I hear you, dog.
Yeah, no, it took a lot. It took a lot of work to actually become like a respectable coach. Because obviously coming in as like an NA bubble player to coach another region's team, they're like,
Were you close
here's
to
another
going to
guy.
a major or the Worlds? Which
I
was
almost
it?
made Worlds.
That's right.
Mhm,
Almost
mhm.
I
world
almost made
contender
Worlds.
coach.
It all came
Fisher.
down. It all came down to the last regional where we lost out, and that was it. That was it. We didn't make Worlds, but no, yeah. I mean, my team was the only team to beat Limitless in Sub-Saharan Africa, and they're currently on like I don't know, have they gotten 10 titles now in the past 11 regionals?
They've
gotten
won
10
both the
titles in the past 11
regionals, even just this season as well as they're fending off Europe.
And they're fending off Europeans, yeah. So yeah, I feel like I attribute a lot of the replay reviews I was doing and like constant coaching I was doing for that. But yeah, no, I honestly wish I could just get my hands on all these replays from the weekend and just look at them, the Dignitas ones. And I don't know what's going on. It was Caleb.
Whoa, Caleb, you didn't double up, dog.
Oh no, there was two of me. Oh,
Mike got his own camera.
We'll be right back, ladies and gentlemen. We're experiencing some technical difficulties.
Happens all the time. You love to see it.
But yeah, no, I'd love to see like your perspective on it, Caleb. Like, what happened? What happened here?
We'll get into it. I think I want let's work our way into what happened there. Let's find like some happiness, and then let's get some highs, and then we'll ride some lows, and then get some. Let's go hop on this roller coaster of super fun. Why don't we? So, results wise, I guess we'll just start where it all began, which is like the double elimination stage of each qualifier. Which again used to be just called the qualifier for the regionals, but now we
qualifier.
But now we don't use regional anymore. It's all just qualifiers. Now you have like double elim qualifier for the main event qualifier. Definitely not confusing. But our team never lost a series in any of the double elim, which is nice. I mean, we're playing champs, GCs, low SSL, stuff like that for the most part.
Yeah, like TSM and stuff.
Yeah, but we've never, basically, but we never had to go to lower bracket. Never went to lower bracket. We've definitely lost some like suspect games throughout. And the thought process going into a lot of the double elim games is something to, it's something sometimes watching some of those double elim games. We'll get into that later. But we've never left the upper bracket. We lost a game to Turbo's Cheeks, which was questionable. But I think a lot of people, I mean, when we believe we swept the Muffin Men that first double elim, and then we beat TSM as well in that first double elim. That was really good. But then we moved on to the Swiss stage of that same qualifier. Swept right away. Boom, just swept by by Rebellion. We went from we were on top of the world, and then boom, smacked to a little dose of reality sucked right there. But then they woke up and proceeded to back sweep OG, TSM, and Luminosity, which was sick. Making their way to the quarterfinals, facing former Dignitas player Andy on we all love Andy on Pirates of the Boat.
Andrew.
That King Nolan, as some might call
King
him. And that series itself wasn't a pretty series. I think it's fair to say. It wasn't as clean as we'd like it to be. In the end, won. I think it was 4-2. In that series. But in the L, I mean, it didn't really bode well for the future, going only 1-4 against the eventual Qualifier 1 winners, G2. But in the end, I would say that like even just getting as far as that did exceeded all expectations, sitting at the 3-4 spot in North America. It was good, but we were already seeing some of those like glimpses of like what's going on here, what's happening to the boys. Why are they looking so shaky? And I think that's where it kind of like you start to see a little bit there. A bit, and it's not fun to watch any of that stuff, but like I said, and the thing is, this sounds almost exactly what happened last winter split. What? First event hopping in, we make top 4? Huh? And then following event, we don't make it past day 1? The parody is interesting. So then going into the next qualifier, or regional, what do you want to call it? Going into the next regional, the Swiss stage, the team that was sharing our spot in 3-4 couldn't even make the Swiss stage. Rebellion didn't even make it out of double elim. Huge
Greatest
for
luck
us.
of all time.
Exactly.
Crazy.
Exactly. I mean, it got to the point where they fell down to lowers, and this is for anyone watching. Everyone here, I think, knows what happened. But they fell to lowers, and then it was us versus TSM again. And the loser of that match was going to go face Shopify. So out of Shopify, TSM, and Dignitas, one of them was not making the main event. It just happened to be the Rebellion, which was again huge because we were currently tied with them for points, and for them not making it immediately put us automatically into 3rd place. We got immediately 3 points for making it to the Swiss stage, put us in 3rd. Huge for us, especially for what was unfortunately about to come. And as you guys can see, my camera's starting to go in the other direction now. Oh wait, now now we're messing up on this side, and the bottom's getting. We'll see how far more like of a mosaic thing we can get going on here in a bit. But again, it almost feels scripted. What would proceed? Oh man, it's getting worse. Let's go. Come on, reset, fix it in editing, Caleb. It'll all be fixed in post. Let's go. But in the end, it would kind of help us out with what was going to happen in that same event, with that Swiss stage, which really sucked. But in the end, it worked out to a degree. Let's start with Omelette, shall we, guys? Good old Omelette. We played a team called Omelette, which is made up of decent players. It's Lion Blaze, Zenil, and Percy. A good team. Lost in game 5, so it wasn't a sweep. Went to game 5. 3 of those games went to OT. And out of all that OT, it was almost 15 minutes of overtime across those 3 games. We were holding up the entire bracket. Like, no one could go on to Series 2 until we finished that up. We have... got a little hey yo. Fair enough. The one other game that we lost was a 1-2 game, but the deciding match in the end of there was 0-3. That game 5 didn't even score a goal. But myself and the producer of the Dig stream, goes by Species, we were in awe that series because Omelette's defense was phenomenal. It was Europe can have the blue wall. North America's got the egg wall because we were not getting anything through. It was it just sucked. It just sucked because like we're watching them and it's not even like our team. It wasn't that like we were trying to score. We were put up lots of chances. Nothing was getting through. And I think that's where like the shakiness started to come in. And I don't know. For me, maybe it comes down to complacency. We just made top 4. So to them, they feel like they can maybe just breeze through this next Swiss. Oh, it's a team called Omelette. How hard could it be? They're not even on an org. You know, this is just a makeshift team. I don't know. What did you guys take from if you guys saw any of that series? Because it was rough. It was rough to watch get so close. And at a point, again, we were holding up the entire bracket. So our stream numbers were blowing up, and we had almost like everyone was all eyes were on Dignitas, and all eyes watched Dignitas fail to win that series.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's different ways you can go about it. Obviously, like, you know, if you think about it from a mental fatigue standpoint, it's always
especially with that OT.
You know what I mean? Granted, like we had a bunch of OT games, and I feel like that can take a toll on a team. You know what I mean? And I just think that, you know, in the grand scheme of things, I think that it's gonna make us better. You know what I mean? Like having to grind through things like that. You know, I just look at them like bastardized scrims. You know what I mean? Like just that prolonged gameplay. You know, you gotta find a way to be consistent. You gotta find, you know what I'm saying? It's not like, you know, obviously, like you said, like it wasn't blowouts. You know what I mean? So we played it tough, you know, and we just didn't get it done. But I will also say, I mean, you could also look at it, you know, in a positive light where it's just like, you know, these are teams, Omelette, Pirates on the Boat, you know what I mean? These teams have improved, you know what I mean? Like, it's not like they're just scrubs, you know what I mean? Like,
these aren't randoms just because they don't have an org. You know?
Exactly. You know, they're improving, which, you know, I know that a lot of the conversation out there is like, you know, EU is so deep and like these regions are so deep, but like, you know, I would like to believe that NA is kind of coming along. Especially, I know Caleb got like EU bias for sure, but and he's fixing this.
Caleb's got camera bias right now.
Dude, this happens to me every.
But yeah, with Shopify not even qualifying and us having like, I don't know, I think we had like 10 rookies on their first regional. Like NA's shown like we've got a lot of people that developed over the like 7-month off season. And the thing is, you know, Percy, Lion Blaze, and Zanil. Percy and Lion Blaze are really strong defensively. Lion Blaze specifically, he's known for being a ridiculous defender because he's super high 1v1 specialty.
I mean, even on, was it M80 last season, he took down FaZe?
Yeah, the thing is, I'll be honest, like that Alma series didn't surprise me, but I feel like there should have been some kind of change they did during that series. I don't know. They had to talk to each other. I don't know what they were doing, but I obviously don't know how they're coached in series. I'm not in the comms or anything, but something has to change in that series to where you're not going to game 5 against Omelette. Like the defense being so strong for Omelette is not about Omelette. We can put on as many shots as we want, but if you are putting on all these shots and they're not going in, that's like a trigger. After 1 or 2 games of that happening, you should be saying, what are we gonna do to not just keep throwing shots at them, to start demoing or changing our play style? Or do we have a plan for this? Do they have a plan for this? I don't know how they practice, but from other orgs' perspectives, not very strong, our practices, our scrims. I think taking it a little bit more seriously, just, you know, I don't know, just right after a top 4, I hate that the mentality is complacency. The mentality is, oh, I'm better. I'm just better.
It'll just work out.
It's not healthy and it's not sustainable. And I think we saw it last season.
Who was on the Knights last season? Because I remember that was one of the teams we lost to after we got our top 4. And then going into the next regional after that, I believe we lost to the Knights. And that was like, huh? We're losing to
I forgot
Knights?
who was on that team.
Was it like
Was
Blitz
Zanil?
on
Was that
something.
Zanil on that
Blitz
team?
and
Maybe?
Zanil, maybe?
Oh no, so it's like Zanil like back to back. Oh, it made top 4? No, ain't gonna happen.
No,
And
I don't know.
It just
That's-
sucks to see like that kind of stuff. And I mean, it was the crossbar was just being abused as well. Nothing could get him. But it was just like hairline defense. And I think it was over the course of the entire event on last Friday that our casters, Jorby and Turtle, were making good note about it, which was that there wasn't. It looked like the team dynamic was slowly crumbling away, and it was just turning into solo play, fail, solo play, fail. Oh, they passed into solo play and fail. Counterattack, get scored on. Counterattack, get scored on. Like team defense into team counterattacks, and
that frustrates a team. Like that frustrates your mentality when
Mentally just
something
breaking down.
isn't changed there, and you are doing this. Oh, just keep going. Just solo play, hit them. Just keep hitting them. Just keep hitting them. Something's gonna break through, and it doesn't. That's what really shattered the mental. And I know that had an effect because of the next series against Leftovers.
Yeah. So
Now this is a team that you should 3-0 as Dignitas. Top 4, no matter what.
Now,
3-0 as Dignitas.
they went 3-1 at least. They 3-1.
But it wasn't.
And the only game they
easy.
lost was OT. But overall, unfortunately, it was a close series when you look at the score lines. And in the series, I think in all our opinions, it shouldn't have been that close. It shouldn't have been that much of a struggle.
Yeah, I think you made a good point, Caleb. Also, I don't think we should just like glaze over the fact that I gotta watch when I say glaze because it's absolutely changed meaning over the day over the years. But no, we can't just pass over that thought of the crossbar, those types of things. I think is huge. When you look at like G2s, when you look at, even over in EU, like these teams are finishing consistently. You know what I mean? Like they're finishing.
Holding monster over there.
They have a plan.
Yeah. And not to say that we don't have a plan. I feel like into every game, like I have the utmost confidence in VP and, the plan that they come up with together. It's just a matter of, finishing. You know what I mean? That applies. It's a very common thing. You know what I mean? It's what separates good teams from great teams. You know what I mean? It's like there's not this huge gap in talent. You know what I mean? It's just a matter of who finishes consistently. You know what I mean? That's okay.
Oh, he's just bouncing around like a pinball.
So I mean,
I agree. I just like. It's so hard to watch as a fan. So hard to watch.
For sure. And like, yeah, I mean, like the mental aspect of it is really hard when it's like self-inflicted wounds, as well as, the team is like peaking or playing really well, like that can be a lot on the mental, and it's a completely mental type of thing. So you just gotta find a way, whether that, I don't know if it's a timeout or like, just the comms or whatever it may be, there has to be that consistent presence of, positivity. And then, based on, like we had talked about earlier, from a chemistry standpoint, I feel like they have good enough relationships with each other to hold each other accountable. You know what I mean? And I think that's a big piece of it. Everybody's got to be on the same page. You got to keep your feelings out of it. You know what I mean? Because everybody's committed to everybody has the same goal, and that's to win. You know what I mean? To be the best of the best. And so I feel like you got to be able to hold each other accountable whenever someone isn't in the right way, right? You don't want to be a jerk. You don't want to be whatever, but you got to be able to hold each other accountable. I feel like that's where the growth is. So
right. And that's a sensitive like subject to approach,
Yeah. Hold yourself accountable, but also keeping your emotions in check and stuff like that. And unfortunately,
Absolutely.
I think that's what went into stage 3 of the Swiss here. As they went up against Pirates on the Boat again. And we knew that it wasn't a pretty last time they faced them in the quarters. And this time, now instead of a best of 7, we got a best of 5. So you can't slack off. And whether it comes down to if it's nerves, if it's playing a former player, playing a former prospect with Eris, who was looking to be on Dignitas at some point. I don't know, maybe clearly those emotions didn't fade away too well from my perspective. We lost 1-3.
No, but I completely agree with. I mean, we can see how the story unfolded. Like we can see the past games and we see how the story unfolded. You know, with that like mentally, I would not be in a position to overcome a team that we had a messy game with last time and just edged out. We almost went down 3-2. That would have been almost it for that series last time, and we edged them out. And I'm after these games, and after what's happened with the first game, what's happened with the second game, I'm not in a position mentally with my teammates and my team to probably beat this team. And that's exactly what happened. Just
I'm gonna tell you this too. Andy was popping off. I'm not gonna lie to you. You know what I'm saying? My guy, he was popping off.
Consistent player.
Just to be real, like
North America's most consistent player, man. He's just he will be there no matter what. He's just
man, Mr. Consistent, bro. I've always admired that.
He's not the craziest mechanical player. I mean, when he was on Dig, he was constantly saying that. He was like, "Oh, I know I'm not going to be, I'm a crazy mechanical." I was like, one, there's nothing stopping you from becoming crazy mechanical if you want to be. But he knows where his floor sits. And I mean, hell, that was what we relied on so much last season was his floor. Was knowing sure, we had we'd let Drees and Evo, peak with their ceiling, but we knew Andy's floor was going to help carry us through. And that floor is apparently a rock solid boat that he is just smashing through us with. It's disgusting. We scored 4 goals that entire series. It went game 1, 0-3. Game 2, we won 3-1. Game 3, lost 1-5. And then game 4, another 0-3. And which put us, unfortunately, on our last life. We would have to win stage 4 and stage 5 to make playoffs. And Pirates on the Boat, they're a strong team. And when it comes down to the script of what we needed Pirates to not do very well. I mean, it's how it was last winter split. It was like, all right, we need this team to fail, this team to fail. We need these random, we needed Optic to, do really well at one point to, edge out the teams that would have beaten us. But then for them not to go any farther or they would edge us out. So we needed them to, all right, we want you to do well. Until we don't, and we need G2
not too well.
Exactly, and unfortunately, that's what it kind of relied on because Pirates on a Boat, they're just strong. Whatever they're cooking up there with their coach Achieves, shout out Achieves, helping them out and passing on his knowledge. But again, you just have these players like Eris and 5UP who are just doing really well, and they're strong. I'll be surprised if they don't get signed. If they keep doing what they're doing.
And Achieves, he's a real mind. He is a big mind in Rocket League. He's always
definitely a huge loss on the desk for him not being back in RLCS. But hey, he'll be on that broadcast no matter what. He made his way there, and he did it. But and I guess let's just speaking of broadcasts in RLCS broadcast, stage 4. Come on, camera. You can come back. It's okay. You can see my stressed out face.
Here we go.
We were on the main broadcast for stage 4 because it was last life for one of these teams against a team that we swept last time we played them. A team that had fallen off hard. They won a couple off-season events. It was a team that looked super strong. I remember Fisher and I talking in the off-season going, man, this is a team that maybe we should have signed them. They were looking strong.
They should be
of Calm, Nolly, and the GOAT J-Naps. OG. Again, we swept them. First time we played them, the first qualifier, and then they swept us, and they would leave us out of the event and placing us in the 9 to 11th spot. And we scored 2 goals that entire series, and I would just say, basically, whatever the team had left in them, it's gone. They were defeated.
Whatever the team had left in them was not enough to be a team that had revitalized what they were supposed to be doing.
Yep. They came back
They
hungry.
needed to prove that those
came back
their
hungry.
salaries. They're like, wait.
For sure.
Which is also phenomenal for our rankings that they did do.
This
so
is part of the script. This is what we were talking
This
about
was
afterwards, that we needed them to do well.
OG taking out. I forgot who they took out just in that quarterfinal, but it was so important. Was it M80?
They would go to the quarterfinals and they would 4-2 M80. We needed them to drop.
Incredibly important to us.
And that was big. I'm
And
looking
that
back
was-
at my notes for that series though against them, and it's the most blank notes I have for them. I think at that point my head was like in my hands, just going, "It's Jover,
It's Jover.
it's Jover." My one note I have on here was, "Oh, cool, Wave Punk is wearing some Dig merch in the show before the series. Sick."
And they all predicted us to win.
And then they all predicted us to win, and then we got stomped, and then we closed it out. And just like the omelet series, all eyes were on us, and all eyes watched us fail, which sucks. And that's kind of where everything left. And we were then sitting there, again, hoping, we needed the script to go well for our favor like it did the last winter split. We needed certain teams to pop off. We needed NRG to make a good run. We needed, I think, even Luminosity, we wanted them to do somewhat well to a degree. Again, not too well, and unfortunately they went too well. And OG, we needed those teams to edge out the teams that were right behind us to do well, which kind of leaves us to where we sit right now in the placements, because we went from basically being we were on track to comfortably make major. We were like, all right, if we can do this, we can make top fours. All you gotta do is be top four. Used to be top five. Top four, hey, we're making top four. We're fine. And then here comes then everything. The scriptedness started to kick in. Because again, Rebellion not making it, huge for us, placing us in third. But then us falling out early. Again, we were really praying on OG and Luminosity to make it all the way. And that Direct on Twitter, the RLCS stats man for rlesports, he put out a graphic the other day in a tweet. What each team need to do to join G2 to clinch, because G2 clinched. They won both events back to back. They're locked in. Direct says with regional twos finishing up in time for LAN, it's time for LAN scenarios. 10 teams control their own fate. Below is the minimum needed to clinch, but teams can get in with even less help. And full scenarios will be after this qualifier this weekend. He says any team below TSM can still make the major. In fact, a team with 0 points can still technically make the major. NA is in shambles. If they make a deep run, if they could make it all the way. Not a single team in North America is actually eliminated from a major contention, and won't be until teams start getting knocked out from the qualifiers, or the double elims. Even he's calling it a regional. The regional threes qualifiers. And in the graphic, it shows us in 4th place. And then in 5th place, it's a tie between M80, Pirates on the Boat, SSG, and OG. All of them are a single point below us. That's all it's separating, is 1 point. And then it shows Luminosity above us in 3rd, and all they have to do is make top 4 again, and they're locked. Everyone else has to win to clinch. But we can rely on points. But in theory, as long as we make top 4... and by some miracle, a bunch of other teams don't place well enough. Teams bound for Copenhagen. And that's kind of where we're left off at. Like I said, we're really happy to see how OG did, knocking out M80. Who else did what they needed to do? We're both rooting for if NRG would have beat Luminosity, I think it would have been good for us.
What they needed.
Those two are more like
them.
They're gonna. I mean, like I said, G2's already locked. Gen G is probably gonna be the 2nd seed going into it. They're pretty consistent. It's pretty obvious. Classic Gen G. And then we were just rooting for that other side of the bracket. M80 getting stomped out was huge, and then having OG, NRG, and Luminosity was great for us. Luminosity making it all the way again, put them into 3rd, which puts us in 4th at an event that we dropped out early on. Still in 4th place. By 1 point.
They always talk about in the NFL like it's any given Sunday, man. It truly is that. It's the case here too. You know, you got to show up, because any day somebody can make you look silly.
And speaking of silliness, all right, let's talk about it. especially talk about the double elim brackets. I don't know if you guys have actually watched those games too closely. We do a bit of trolling around here and there. And there's been, even in some like other podcasts and on social media, other pros talking about, when it comes to scrims, who's the one team that trolls? Oh, cool. Dignitas is the name that gets dropped. So it looks like the team does a bit of trolling. I'm not in on the scrims. Boston's in the scrims, but it's not his place to probably speak on what he sees in there. But unfortunately, it looks like not 100% is not what's going into some of these things, and definitely in those double elims. I mean, that first double elim, I made it the title of one of our videos on the Rocket League YouTube channel. Is that two of the players literally sat in net, and then let the other one 1v3. I'm sure they're playing against like GCs or like champs or something. Sure, like it's not a struggle, but it. Let's see.
I think what you have is an opportunity to.
Lots of Turbo's
really
cheeks. Game 1.
It's really like an ego and humility type of thing. These players just, they don't have that humility to just give it their all, even against the bad players, or think about what I can do to be a better like person and player, not just on the field. But with that being said, I've also got to go off the field right now because it's approaching 3.
Yeah, let's.
My girl's supposed to be in class, so I gotta go drop her off. But
Boss said I can close this out.
Yeah. Nah, I just think that because it kind of reminds me of like preseason in the NFL. You know what I mean? Like you kind of look at it as an opportunity to see what works, see what doesn't work from a coaching staff standpoint. But for a lot of the players, like this is like an opportunity to make the team. You know what I mean? And I think it's all about, like you said, Fish, it's all about your perspective on the situation. You know what I mean? You can look at it as, oh, let's just get past these guys to get to the main thing. But
yeah,
in reality, it's like you have an opportunity, right, to work on, like you said, maybe you can be more observant of how your teammate plays, like what they do well, what they don't do well, you know what I mean, what you guys as a unit do well, you know what I mean, and kind of like building on that, you know what I mean. Like I think it's like it's you got all-star bots, right, you know what I mean, like I'm sure that's how they view the situation, but it's like they still can save the ball, they still can 50-50 the ball, you know what I mean? And so you can obviously use that as an opportunity to improve on your synergy, improve on all that stuff. So it's just all about perspective. And I get it. I know it can be, with scrims and all that kind of stuff, it can be kind of like, whatever, we got scrims in against whoever. But I still think that, no matter the situation, no matter the game, who you're playing against, it's always an opportunity to, what I'm saying? Because you're putting that product out there on the field. People are watching all of it. You know what I mean?
Think that's what differentiates you. You know what I mean? Like that's like a trait of someone that wants it more, to just even spend that time against, people. Maybe you won't even learn anything against them, but just putting in that extra bit is like what it really differentiates these teams that want it more, like probably this unsigned team like Pirates in the Bow.
Yeah,
but, I mean, thank y'all for having me.
I'm gonna head out.
Take care, man. We'll close it.
Fish.
Thank you. It was good talking to y'all.
Yeah, man.
Till the next one, man.
Till the next one.
Yeah. All I was gonna say was it just comes down to if you're not putting in 100%, and then when the time comes that you need to put 100% in, are you ready to? Can you turn it on like that? Maybe you can't. I don't know. Like that's what for me it looks like is, because I mean we did a content scrim before the last qualifiers where we scrimmed SSG. We won a single series, one game. We won one game. It was SSG didn't hold back, while our team looked like they're pre-jumping. One player was saving the other player's goals. It didn't matter. It was just because it wasn't real. But then what happens when it is real? What happens when you do need to make sure that it's locked in? So
that's huge. I'm
hoping that's And moving forward, from what I've learned, from what I've heard, so the players are locking in. Any form of complacency was blown to pieces after the losses, so it doesn't matter. And hopefully they're doing what they need to do to be prepared for the next 2 weekends to go in from the qualifier into the last regional. I reached out to the whole team. Evo and Panda had nothing to comment on. Arsenal said he's going to go with the flow. I'm going to hope that means that the team is locking in and he's locking in as well. Let's do a little camera.
One thing I'll say about Arsenal is like, that may seem like a very simple statement, but I believe that, Arsenal is one of the best players at like adapting. And so I feel that whatever the vibe is, whatever the situation is, he's going to be able to make the most out of it.
He's going to do what he's got to do, hopefully, to
But I mean, in the grand scheme of things, they have, we got to come together as a unit. We got to come together, mentally, uplift each other, all that kind of stuff. And not to say that they're not doing, but, every opportunity, every game, you have to treat it as your last. As weird as that sounds or whatever, like that's just how we have to be built, because that those deposits get registered or like they get placed in your mind, you know what I mean? And so like you said, turned it on, right? That doesn't just happen in a day. That didn't just happen like I'm gonna wake up and I'm gonna go peak, you know what I mean? Like it's a gradual incremental build up to where you're peaking at the right time, and so with the opportunities, with the different format, you know what I mean? Like you have to take each game seriously.
And I think I'll just leave it off with Gyro's comment he gave me, which had me. Gyro says, definitely didn't play to the level we know we can play at. We know what we did wrong, and we're actively doing our best to not let that happen again. Don't really want to go into detail about what we did wrong, but just know that that wasn't the real dig. Really pushing for a top 4 next regional. We're even boot camping for it, but of course we have to focus on the qualifiers first since those can get scary, LMAO. Boot camp? What? I didn't even know I didn't know that was in the talks. I know there was conversations about boot camping for like the previous events, and I heard that this last event of the split wasn't getting the cards. I'm excited. If they are looking to make that a boot camp, hopefully that can help them lock in. It's what happened again. I keep talking about that this has become a parody of last winter split, which is that we boot camped for the 3rd event and we locked in and we made the major. And if that's what it takes, hopefully that's what seals the deal.
Let's get it, baby. Yeah, man. I mean, that's huge. That's huge. And one of the things, like I'll speak to like kind of what you were saying in Gyro's comment. Like I feel like one of the main things about growth is like if you don't understand like where you went wrong or why things are going the way that they are, like
how can you improve if you don't know where to improve from?
You know what I mean? I don't really know what to tell you. It just starts with being able to reflect and look back, hindsight's 2020, and being able to see where you fell short, each individual and then collectively as a team. And that's where it starts. So I definitely, I believe I have the utmost confidence in those guys. I truly believe they can be a contender, not just in NA, but on a world level. I definitely think they can be a contender. So, I'm excited to see them continue to grow. And then also, obviously, like we signed the roster this year, you know what I mean? So I feel like
they're still so fresh, man. They're so fresh. They're less than like 2 months old.
Exactly. And so, each one of these opportunities, whatever it looks like, it don't matter, bro. It doesn't matter. Like you gotta treat it as though like this is going to help me get to where I want to go, which is the world championship. You know what I'm saying? World champions. So you gotta take every opportunity seriously. Period.
I like that. And I think with that, we just look forward to this weekend for the qualifiers and then smash through those, and it's do or die, now or never for the split. So thank you guys for watching, for checking us yap. Shout out to Boston, shout out to Fisher for chilling out. And we'll see what happens this coming event. Take care, guys.
See what happens.